Well, let's now turn to the big focus story. Anurag Kashyap's new age thriller Dobara has been in the news for its unique storyline that digs deep into the world of time travel. While the film is getting positive attention from the masses, ahead of the film's release in theatres on the 19th of August, netizens have started a boycott trend once again. Hashtag boycott Dobara, asking the audience to boycott the film completely and fulfill the wish of the actor and the actress and the director. Well, I'll tell you why this has come up. In this particular case, again, Anurag Kashyap is the target. It seems the troll army wants to boycott the film because of Anurag. Now, interestingly, like I mentioned, this time, the actor and the director has taken an interesting position saying, go ahead and boycott the film. We also want to be trending. In fact, Tapsee Pannu is quoted as saying that आजकल बहुत elite club हो गया है boycott का. Therefore, हमको भी Twitter पर trend होना है. I want to be in the same league as Amir Khan's Lal Singh Chaddha. So let's quickly play out for our viewers a short excerpt of an interview that Mirror Now had with Tapsee Pannu and Anurag Kashyap. This is what they said on how they deal with social media.
Tapsee, I still see you, making sure that you, through your films or on Twitter, social media, wherever, that even though you had issues in the past, you still make sure that you do express what you're really feeling. This person has become silent for obvious reasons, but I still feel like that. How much of a struggle that you still feel is because I see, you're suggested always to not do it, but I see that you continue to do it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I've also changed a little. I'll tell you why. Because I got a little frustrated and irritated or exhausted, exasperated with the fact कि मेरे कुछ भी करने से no matter whatever torch bearer, trailblazer आप बोलो कोई change नहीं हो रहा है.
कुछ नहीं change होना नहीं. It's not a fair fight.
Yeah.
See, I'll tell you, जब आपका empire ही दूसरी side है, हाँ, तो आप fair fight तो कर ही नहीं सकते हो. आप कुछ भी बोलो hit wicket हो जाओगे. So it is not about that. It's not. We are not living in a world where it's a fair fight.
Yeah, it's not equal at all.
It's not at all. I'm saying fighting is worth fighting when you say something, your voice matters, and it's a fair fight, and you can go there and do something. ये तो जमीन से लेके कचहरी तक ही fight fair नहीं है. कोई कहीं कुछ भी fair नहीं है. तो लड़ने का फायदा ही नहीं है. And every country deserves what it votes for. This country deserves what it is getting. So the people who have gotten us there will have to deal with the consequences, and consequences are long term, and consequences will be forever.
Which is why you have completely.
I have given up. I gave up.
बहुत मन करता होगा ना, but I know.
कुछ नहीं, मेरा मन भी नहीं करता, मैं सो जाता हूँ.
Really?
मैं घर जाके सो जाता हूँ.
Yeah,
मैं घर जाके सो जाता
हूँ. We're like,
You still do it.
Yeah, I still do it here and there,
मैं
but I'm
पढ़ता ही
very
नहीं हूँ, मुझे कुछ
exhausted.
पता ही नहीं कहाँ गया. मैं घर जाता हूँ, सो जाता हूँ.
For our own good, I'm like, I know what I am, people know who I am, people know what I believe in, people know what I stand for. अब मुझे किसी को नहीं बदलना है, अपना सबको फाइट
हम लोग अपना घर ही नहीं बदल पाते तो बाहर का क्या बदलेंगे?
तो everyone has to fight their own battles.
Yes, so actress Tapsee Pannu there says everyone has to fight their own battles. She is unperturbed with what the troll army has to say, and she in fact goes ahead and says, well, if you want to get us trending on Twitter, go ahead and make your boycott calls. Opinion is clearly divided on whether boycott calls hurt a film. One side believes that any call of boycotting affects the vibe of a film. If boycotting a film is trending on social media, it does affect the numbers. The other side feels that the boycott trend barely affects a film. Boycotts do not affect the box office business of a film. The value of the film industry, viewers, if we take a close look, in financial year 2020 was 183 billion Indian rupees. This was expected to double, but then because of the pandemic, it came down to 61 because of the coronavirus. Estimates for fiscal year 2022 showed a growth of 196%, expected to rise to 182. The Indian film industry has clocked 191 billion crore rupees in 2019, according to FICCI Media and Entertainment Report of 2020, and employs more than 5 lakh workers as per industry estimates. The point I'm trying to make here, viewers, that it's not about one film or one director or one actor. The question is of an industry at large that has brought laurels to the country. Why should the violent fringe, the bigots, the troll armies decide the fate of a film and subvert the nation's interest by hurting the movie business, which is a thriving industry in this country. So let me introduce, joining us here on the program, Murtaza Ali Khan, film critic. Joining me also here today is Ravi Rai, film producer and director from Mumbai, and Gitika Ganjudhar, who is an anchor, actor and author, recently seen in Amir Khan's movie Lal Singh Chaddha. Very warm welcome to all three of you. Thank you for joining me here on the program. And I once again want to point out to this fact that here is an industry, here is a film industry which has brought us laurels. It is something that has put India in the forefront in the global stage in a number of occasions. And now you have these fringe elements, anti-social elements as it were, trying to hurt the industry. It was Lal Singh Chaddha and now it is Dobara. So this is not going to stop. What do we make of this? Should we be worried that this kind of a trend is picking up and it could hurt our interests, it could hurt the interests of the film industry? Or should we not be perturbed and should we not be worried at all about how a film does, because there's a very clear opinion that it does not hurt the business of a film? Murtaza Ali Khan.
See, it's a very, very complex issue, and I'm really bemused that a lot of the places where I'm going for debates, they are reducing it to the binaries, which is not really the case. So it's a very complex issue. Nobody's taken into consideration the fact that we are going through a very bad time. We have just been almost out of this pandemic, which was a 2-year thing. Financial crisis is there. Employment is a major issue. So there are so many factors at play. And at the same time, you have to understand that OTT is a big booming market right now. So all these factors taken into equation, the way I look at it, I feel that the makers should ultimately focus on improving their quality of content. They should focus on coming up with better marketing models. They should come up with better production models. They should also come up with more innovative and hybrid distribution models. Now we have seen, Lal Singh Chaddha was probably going to be the biggest hit of the year. And there was a lot of speculation whether it will work, whether it will not work. But now we have seen that it hasn't worked at the box office. So going forward, we can be certain that this trend will continue. Whatever the reason, we will, of course, dissect it, we'll analyze it, that there could be certain religion aspects, there could be certain, Sushant Singh Rajput's, nepotism trend that is still hurting the industry, but that is something to do on a longer haul. But for now, let's just focus on how do you fix this, because you need tactical moves right now. Strategy is something that you can do in the longer run, but right now you need to think in a very tactical sense. So that's why it's important that you should come up with hybrid models. You should come up with measures that how can you recover the losses. You should come up with certain production strategies wherein you reduce these budgets. Ultimately, there's no point making a 200 crore film when you know that at the box office it will struggle to even make 50 crore rupees. So I think that is the need of the hour. We should now look at smaller budget films, make 10 films. If you would only make 3 large budget films, make 20 small budget films, make 10 small budget films, and then go for a hybrid distribution strategy. Have a certain strategy in place for OTT. Then you have to also keep into consideration the regional market. Why don't you think of multi-starers? Bring some of these big South Indian stars to the north, or so to say Bollywood, and come up with hybrid films wherein you have Prabhas and wherein you also have a Shah Rukh Khan, and then let's try and explore, because you need to think out of the box. Otherwise, there's no way forward. You will remain stranded, and it's going to only make things worse.
That's a fair point. Ravi Rai, where do you stand on this? This boycott culture obviously is only picking up. The fringy believes clearly that they can hurt the movie, which is why they are calling for these boycott calls for whatever ulterior motive or agenda that they may be following.
You see, Afrida, first of all, I think boycotting any film, it doesn't affect a film. We've seen the results by and large. In the past also, we've seen films like My Name is Khan, we've seen Padmavat, we've seen PK. PK and Dangal were at the peak when Amir was being hated in the country. And you know what the phenomenal revenues the film. So also, if you go and see, Kashmir Files was also boycotted. है ना? So my point is, boycott is nothing but a very it's not a constitutional boycott or some orders from the court. It's a very unconstitutional wishful thinking of a handful of people. Having said that, I personally feel we need to. I just joined in the middle. We need to. Bollywood is certainly going through a very, very vulnerable phase, and we need to. There are so many permutations and combinations people are coming with, but it's easier said than done by the outsiders, by the critics, that you must do this, you must do that, you must. There is a huge system, riding on Bollywood. I mean, the star system. Now I just heard one of our friends saying, let's collaborate with them, make smaller budget films, and let's bring in Prabhas, let's bring in South. They are much, much heavier today in terms of remunerations than the Bollywood stars. I mean, again, we are coming back to high budget films which are not working here. There are reasons that we need to go back. The very first thing is,
No, I
why
want a little
have
bit more
our
clarity. Are you saying, Mr.
demigods?
Ravi Rai, that there's the OTT
why does-
influence, there is the South Indian film industry that is picking up, and therefore, with or without these boycott calls, the movie business is going through a slump? Is that the point you're making?
No, Afrida. 5 films, 5 darts from their quiver, they don't damage a Bollywood. They don't.
Okay.
Certainly, Bollywood is, since last 2, I mean, look at the junkyard of the South Indian movies. Look at their backyards. I mean, it's full of junk. Telugu industry just went on a strike. So let's not, they have huge number of flop films that they have. Let's not mix both of. हमारा वक्त चल रहा है वैसा. We haven't produced content. But the South has got nothing to do. If tomorrow there are 3 Bhojpuri film hits and suddenly Bhojpuri takes over Bollywood, it is not done.
Okay, you're saying it's an unfair comparison.
The point
Okay.
that we are going through, the critical point is...
non-serious comment, I feel.
Of course,
How can you compare the South Indian industry to the Bhojpuri industry? I'm completely disagree with you there, sir.
Okay, we'll come to that.
No,
Finish your point, Mr. Ravi.
Sir,
Rai.
you
Finish
did
the
not.
point
You
you're
did
making.
not listen to what I said. I said tomorrow, if you
say
failed
that 3
to listen
Bhojpuri
to
films
if
create the same impact.
there was a
as
big
this-
if Bhojpuri.
Right. No, I understand the point you're making, Mr. Ravi, right? That let's not make these comparisons with South Indian movies doing better than Bollywood at the moment. Our topic of discussion clearly is with regards to these repeated boycott calls, movie after movie, and these are trending online. A lot of people are expressing their opinion on it, and generally this is in public discourse now. And if a movie like Lal Singh Chaddha, I want to bring in Geetika Ganju also into the conversation, we feel was hurt by these boycott calls, that would embolden these elements. And that is not something that we can afford, because here is an industry, like I said, that has put India in the forefront. It has put India in the global stage. We have, we support a lot of people in this country. It's a matter of livelihood. So in the larger picture, these fringe elements should not get the better of us in terms of, these movies doing good business. Geetika Ganju, where do you stand in this debate?
So, first of all, we when we talk about issues like this, looking at real numbers is very, very important. So how many people out there on Twitter are actually talking about boycotting these films? What are their numbers? What is their modus operandi? One is that. As of now, it's a very fringe element. I think we're making much too big a deal of it. But having said that, it is an issue. It is a challenge on the rise. And let me assure you, the Indian film industry and the producers, the directors, the production houses, the banners are all led by very, very intelligent men and women. And they have recognized the potential damage that the trend of boycotts can do in the future. And I think they will get together and arrive at a solution very, very soon. Having said that, I just want to make a very human appeal to everybody listening out there. It takes years for a writer to write a story. Then he takes it to a producer. The producer then, gets the actors in, money is put, a crew of hundreds and hundreds of people work day and night and slog and put their sweat and blood, and then you end up making a film. Sometimes it's a beautiful film, sometimes the vision goes wrong. Please, there are lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of people across the country whose livelihood depends on the Indian film industry.
Yes.
क्या कर रहे हैं आप लोग? क्या कर रहे हैं? I mean, don't think of this कि हमने इस फिल्म को boycott किया, वो नहीं चली, उसको किया, वो नहीं चली. Boycott से इन फिल्मों को शायद पहले दिन फर्क पड़ता है, but word of mouth will travel and a good film will do its run. But what are you all doing? I really, Afrida, I think that this has become one small little profession to boycott films, probably call producers and extort money, or just feel powerful, bully people, and it has nothing to do.
Do you think, Gitika, that this is a very apt response from Taapsee, Pannu, and Anurag Kashyap to say that go ahead, do what you want. We are so confident of the product that you're least likely to hurt us. Do you think that's a good enough, a very confident response? I thought.
As of now, she couldn't have given you a better response. But I do think the film industry in general, like she also hinted, needs to come together and face this together. Like Arjun Kapoor said in one of his interviews, that we have to come together and we have to talk about this and stand up against this. This is,
But
you're
he's facing the
entire
heat.
industry there. And tell me, for what good reason are they now talking of boycotting Hrithik Roshan's film, for God's sake? I mean, really, it's going to a level of foolishness. There are so many people whose livelihood depends on this industry. No. I think this is the government somewhere will need to, probably take a look at it. It's becoming a bit of a law and order situation here.
Yes, it is. But I like the point you made that, people work hard, they toil day in and day out to put a product out for us, for our entertainment. Think of the lakhs of artists. Not everyone is seen on the big screen. Gitika is among the lucky ones who was seen there on the big screen. But beyond that, the number of people who are involved in putting this product out there, think about how this could hurt their morale if time and again, after having worked days and weeks and months to put out a product for the people, you see these kind of boycott calls for no reason sometimes, and for very flimsy reasons, or sometimes I would say on a whim, these trending hashtags go online, which is unfortunate. But if you look at the data and in terms of Lal Singh Chaddha, it's very clear that the movie obviously, at least so far, hasn't done business as it should have, as an Amir Khan film should have. The movie rights, I'm told, is now sold to Netflix. The budget of the movie was 180 crore rupees. It's not about, again, one movie, one actor, or one. It's about the larger question, which is why I keep coming back to this point about how do we address this particular issue, and should there be any government intervention, Murtaza Ali Khan, that, you cannot just have a bunch of people coming together and trending these hashtags. We already do have new IT rules. Do you see some sort of a regulation that is required by these social media platforms as well?
See, frankly, I don't see government intervening at this point in time, because a lot of the people who are actually boycotting the film are actually people who are supporters of the government in terms of the ideology. If you look at a lot of these trolls who are coming out and who are abusing Amir Khan, they are saying that he has made fun of our Hindu gods and goddesses. So why would the government go out of its way to,
why the
to
government did go out of its way when it came to Kashmir files? So, if you're really asking about why should the government intervene, it does in certain cases.
It's a clear case of an agenda suiting their interests. So when it works for them, they would of course be doing that. But when it doesn't, but that's like a larger debate, and I think that is something that would require a lot of, brainstorming, and it's a very delicate matter. And I don't think that for now.
So what I'm trying to say is, if what Gitika is saying, that this has become a law and order issue, the actors are threatened, people who want to go and watch the movie might have a fear that they might be attacked or something if there's a troll army hanging out there, or bigots, holding protests like it happened in the case of Padmavat. So it's not unusual for these kind of violent instances also to happen outside movie theaters. So many would play safe and say, okay, let's wait for it to come on OTT or something and not
See, the
go to the
Bollywood has to
theatres.
come
That
out
would
on this
hurt the
together.
business. I want to bring you in, Ravi Rai, again. You know, a little short of time, just quickly winding up with some closing comments on this entire issue. That here we have a situation of these good. Dubara, by the way, has got very positive reviews so far from whatever I have seen. When it comes to the movie before this, Lal Singh Chaddha, which I watched, and I saw that all those points that were being made online completely baseless. And I'm saying this with confidence, with a certain amount of responsibility about whether hurting religious sentiment. I did not find anything in that movie that does so. And I did not find anything that should enrage anybody. Which brings me to the point to ask that, is there something then just out of vindictiveness, just out of trying to target an individual actor that these hashtags are floated? Which is why this is such a dangerous trend, isn't it?
Yeah, Afrida, now let me clear one thing that Murtaza said, ki it is the mindset of people, those who are with the government. I mean, what about the people, those who boycott Akshay Kumar?
Those who boycott
Kangana Ranaut?
Correct.
I mean, no. So let's not get into the government mindsets or not. And we are overreacting to things. We're just overreacting. We just need one good film to do business. We are back in business.
Okay, that's a very good,
we have been failing. The moment you
to...
say ki Anurag, Kashyap and
okay, carry on.
Yes. I mean, you tell me ki weren't there sections of people, those who threatened people not to go and watch Kashmir Files or they would be beheaded? But the film did a stupendous business of 300 crores plus. So all these things ki ye government ke saath hai, ye government ke khilaf, it doesn't work. You know?
Okay.
I mean, if these things were to work in theaters, then a film called Narendra Modi, which was said to be backed by the PMO, didn't do.
Unless you own it up, you won't be able to come to terms with it.
Okay.
If you actually acknowledge that this is for real, only then you will find a remedy for it.
Murtaza,
no, but where is the question of a remedy? What Mr. Ravi Rai is arguing is that there is no such problem. Let's believe, let's have faith in the product, and one good film will reverse the trend and people will start thronging theatres. So it's a general phase that he is referring to. Maybe a low phase for Bollywood, and we should
let's
not
be
give
crybabies. We need one good
troll
film
army
to be back.
for this low phase. If there is a phase like that, it's not the troll army. Entire thing cannot be attributed to the sort of boycott calls and the cancel culture. No, I take your point. Gitika Ganju, your last thoughts on, you know, this entire issue, because the reason why we pick this up is because we want to underline the fact, again, at the cost of repeating myself, that here is an industry, and you said it so well, that supports so many livelihoods. There are people who tirelessly work day in and day out, and to put in, so will this hurt that confidence, that creative liberty, that poetic license that an artist takes sometimes? Because all the time, if you have to operate under this fear that if I have this line or if I put it this way, there might be a death threat on me. Do you think that is the bigger damage here that we should be worried about?
You know, if you all remember, there were films like Fire, Water, many, many years ago that faced so much outrage and vandalism, all that. Chalo, I mean, those issues also were non-issues for educated and evolved people, but ये बताइए ना कि इन फिल्मों में problem ही नहीं है कुछ. This has become a profession to troll, to extort, to bully, you know. I mean, go see the film. It's a film about goodness. It's a film about simplicity. It has such rich subtext about humanity, about the future, how humans should be. Really, I think this is all just time pass, and we're giving it a lot of importance. And I think the Indian film industry will very, very soon come together and speak up and handle this problem head on.
Yes, they have to come together. That's very important, right? I agree with you
there. Have to come together for sure, and nothing to do. You know, initially
there has to be a genuine.
Is it about religion? Is it about government? Is that no, Baba? This is Akshay Kumar's film also trolling. Hrithik Roshan's film also. You have the Khan's film getting trolled. So ये एक profession बन गया है लोगों का. एक नया. You know, it's just something new, and the law and order has to handle it. The industry has to come together, and I'm telling you, they will come together and they will handle this.
Yes, that's again an
Bachchan is my
optimistic
role
note. You know, the fact that the industry should stand together and they should withstand all of this, and the discerning lot among us who believe that, you know, a good creative product should be watched by one and all, they should speak up as well. Very interesting points of view. Yes, go ahead, Kritika, you were saying something?
And you asked me about whether creative people can be told what to film and what not to film. मैं कहती हूँ कि क्रिएटिव लोग ही सबसे ज्यादा शूरवीर होते हैं. जितना उनकी आवाज बंद करेंगे उतना खुल के उठेगी. So I'm sorry, I don't think creative people or the film industry is going to be told कि आप ये बनाइए वो मत बनाइए. हाँ, there is a certain thing that, you know, we have responsibility that society fabric gets affected by films. And
that's very good to hear, because that is one of, personally I had that fear that now we will not be able to see that level of creativity because everybody is feeling squeamish because of this cancel culture and the boycott calls, and that will affect creativity. I'm happy to hear that you're saying that is unlikely to happen.
No, not at all.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thanks to all my panelists. I'm completely out of time, but great conversation, and something that we wanted to highlight, that you cannot allow the fringe and the fringe frenzy to rule the roost when it comes to a movie, when it comes to a creative product, and a work of art in some cases, which is for everyone to enjoy, and everyone has an opinion on it, which is fair. But then you have the choice. You want to watch it or you don't. Do not impose a certain diktat on everyone else.